I tried to warn you weeks ago, but this will probably be the last video that I make on this exact topic because time is running out. Did you know that you can buy a brand new refreshed Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive, the long-range rear-wheel drive, or even the long-range all-wheel drive, with or without all the bells and whistles of the launch edition, essentially exactly how you want it in Pacific markets. So with the refreshed Tesla Model Y variants now popping up on Tesla's website, minus the elusive refreshed Tesla Model Y performance, cutting to the chase like I always try to do, the clock is ticking on existing stock of these newly produced legacy models, as production seems to have fully shifted to the refreshed Tesla Model Y. Once the new legacy Ys are gone, they're gone for good, and you'll be left choosing between a shiny new refresh or a used legacy alternative. But why would you opt for a new 2025 Model Y over the upgraded Model Y, you may say? The refresh is a step up over its predecessor in almost every way. That's true, but the key point is almost every way. The current Model Y still has a few tricks up its sleeve that could shift the scales for you. That's what I want to discuss today. One last dance into why the current Tesla Model Y may be more suited over the 2026 Tesla Model Y for you. So if this sounds like the kind of insight that you're after, please do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Right, let's get straight into it. Cutting straight to it, value. And why the 2025 Tesla Model Y is screaming value, at least to me right now. We know Tesla's got a shrinking pile of these freshly built legacy units sitting in collection centres. It's not a closed secret. Take a look at the inventory tab on the Tesla's website, and they're desperate to clear these out to replace them with refreshed models. As production for the launch series ends, these factories are now churning out new rear-wheel drive and long-range variants in increasing numbers for the refresh. Therefore, the legacy stock is going to evaporate daily, and once it's gone, you won't be able to see these kind of deals again. So what's on the table to actually clear the legacy stock, you may ask? There's a variety of levers that Tesla are pulling. This being straight discounts off the sticker price over in the existing inventory tab, ridiculously low leasing rates, and 0% APR finance, which trumps Tesla's 9% APR on the new refreshed Tesla Model Y variant here in the UK. For reference, interest charged via Tesla PCP on one of these refreshed Tesla Model Ys will total over £10,000. Yes, £10,573 to be exact, for which the new model at this moment in time will favour maybe cash buyers or those savvy enough to look across the market to find an alternative finance deal. But many may prefer the convenience of obtaining direct finance from Tesla, which raises the obvious question of, will we see low finance on the Tesla Model Y refresh? Of course, but you will need to manage your expectations. 0% APR has only been used at the end of not only the legacy Model Y's lifecycle, but also at the end of the legacy Tesla Model 3's lifecycle too. Therefore, what finance rate Tesla lands on as the new normal in the coming months or years to come will be totally up to Tesla, and it will probably differ from market to market too. But with the rumour 50,000 orders in China on day one alone, it literally talks volume. No pun intended. That low APR is not a lever Tesla wants to pull from inception to help drive up demand. So to reiterate, I don't expect 9% APR to be Tesla's new normal, but don't expect super low rates within a few years. Therefore, value is going to be a key driver in this very comparison. This literally could be your last chance to grab a brand new Tesla Model Y with 0% APR for years to come, frankly. And if you are tempted, don't forget to use a Tesla referral link like mine in the video description to help save even more money. It's worth noting that these can be used on existing inventory vehicles too. Remembering with diminishing stock levels, your perfect spec could also fade away very quickly, being an inventory model, but let's move on to other determining factors. So let's nerd out on a number of different specs, because the legacy of Tesla Model Y, it isn't some sort of outdated relic, it's still got the goods. Starting with range. The refresh does squeeze out more range, 28 more miles to be exact, on the base rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y. This is likely to be the most popular model again due to its lower price tag and bang for buck. But in the real world, are you really actually going to notice 28 more miles? Probably marginally less converted from rated to real world range. The bump is certainly welcome for sure, it's a 10% gain, but delving into the details of your average commute, how often are you actually braking 30, 40 miles a day? Don't forget, around 2/3 of people will then charge from home, and they'll get that back in just over an hour into a sleep cycle whilst charging, for which at 283 miles of a 2025 Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive, just like my Tesla Model Y, I literally supercharge just a handful of times a year. And so with the lion's share of charging being from home in my circumstances, that extra 28 miles at my disposal will benefit me less than maybe 5% a year, which would translate into just a few extra minutes of charging for each scenario. Again, we're talking about a handful of minutes at a time, and if you're doing serious mileage, that's where the long range rear wheel drive will come into play here. Is literally why they made that model. Whilst the new refresh does offer more range, better vehicle efficiency, and ever so slightly faster charging speeds, it's the better package for sure. But the legacy Tesla Model Y is still equally a great package. Remember, you could be paying £10,573 in interest over a 4-year term in addition to your capital contribution, just for the pleasure too. And yes, we already mentioned finance offers will get better in time, but when will that be? And it most likely won't be 0% APR for many years to come. Right, time to discuss the future right now. Full self-driving software. This is where the Tesla nerds like myself start salivating somewhat. Both the 2025 legacy Tesla Model Y and the shiny new refresh are rocking Hardware 4 or AI 4. The 2025 legacy Hardware 4 setup is the exact same kit Tesla's been developing with FSD and currently crushing it. Think about what they've already pulled off with FSD 13 version X, whatever it is on now. In the US, it's avoiding potholes, navigating around roundabouts without breaking a sweat, even handling those sketchy unprotected turns. All that magic done with the exact same cameras and computer that you'll find in the legacy Tesla Model Y today, and this is all without a bumper camera. Progress isn't just chugging along, it's actually ramping up fast now. Tesla's barely scratched the surface of Hardware 4's power, as it's about 5 times the grunt of Hardware 3, and we know Teslas produced today are all supposed to be FSD capable and being capable of being robotaxis. Yes, the bumper camera could help optimize the experience for sure, but it may be just good enough without it for most people. Time will ultimately tell how important that new camera will be, and if it is, maybe there will be an optional payment to add it to the legacy Tesla Model Ys with Hardware 4. This FSD business is moving pretty fast, so time will ultimately tell how it will all play out. But Robotaxi aside here, even if you're just using adaptive cruise control or autopilot, it is super polished today if used properly, and will continue to receive software updates to refine the experience. This isn't yesterday's tech, it's today's and tomorrow's too. Popping outside, the legacy Tesla Model Y isn't some ugly duckling, it's sleek and a practical beast. The refresh does tweak a few things for sure. Ground clearance drops 6mm, barely a blip, but if you're scraping rural roads or dodging potholes, the legacy's got the edge here. Tesla is currently hyping up the refresh's extras, so we talk about the indirect light bar at the rear, the trunk also unlocks as you stroll up, and there's a solar coating over the windows that's apparently 7 times better at blocking heat apparently. So if you're baking in maybe Arizona or down under in Sydney, that's going to be a big perk. But here in dreary UK, yeah, less of a selling point. The big seller really will be the suspension upgrades, which they do look like quite a big one to be honest. With gains made to offer a smoother ride with less rumble over the bumps, it's awfully tempting, right? But hold up, the Berlin Tesla Model Y Legacy that I currently drive today, it's not terrible. Yes, it's firm, it feels sporty, keeps you planted, but it's comfy enough for the average Joe like me. You're not rattling your teeth out, it's a good base for sure. The refresh will just probably iron out some of the harshness that it does have. But what I'm trying to say is the 2025 Legacy is still a polished ride. Looks wise of the car, yes, the car looks are totally subjective. The point is, if you like the look of the new one or the old one, or you don't, is really a simple choice of do you like the looks or not. The inside of the Tesla Model Y is really where the refresh actually flexes its upgrades the most. Ventilated front seats, the rear passenger screen, premium materials literally everywhere, funky interior lighting, powered rear seats that you can slide up and down from the boot from a button. It's admittedly harder to actually draw a comparative argument here, as the refresh really is a step up. Even the dash gets a nice plump trim, and the main display is a hair bigger, and the rear cushions are comfier, being 1.5 centimeters longer. The headrests are 1.7 centimeters wider, and Tesla's Ventilation 2.0 promises better airflow too. But the 2025 Legacy, as I've just said, it's not on the same level, but it's also no slouch. You're still getting full premium sound on rear-wheel drive trims, something that the refreshed Tesla Model Y is actually stripped back from for the cheapest models, so only the all-wheel drive trims will actually get full premium sound experience, unless you do opt for the Legacy rear-wheel drive variants. Something to note. Noting this differs in different markets though, particularly in the US, noise isolation is also still top notch as it does have acoustic glass which does keep the world out. The cabin still has the clean look, it's functional, it's built to last, there's no rear screen or ventilated seats. Sure, but how often do you use those? If you're blasting tunes, just going A to B, cruising in peace, the Legacy's got 90% of the experience nailed. It's not a downgrade, it's a damn solid foundation. For the price, it's hard to beat. The refresh is going to be more looks for sure, but the Legacy is still a solid contender, especially if you're not wanting to splash extra for all those extra frills. So here's my final words on it all. My last plea that these brand new Legacy Tesla Model Ys, they're going to vanish. The refreshed Tesla Model Y, it's sleeker. The looks, they're pretty sharp. It's really grown in me. It has fancier tech, and generally it's just more refined across the board. I never doubted it would actually be a clear upgrade, but the 2025 Legacy Model Y, it's a beast on its own terms, and right now it's the deal of the decade. Model Y stock is going to dry up fast for the Legacy, and production is done. Incentives are being pushed, and that cost difference in financing could be your ticket to Tesla ownership. This isn't about settling for less, it's about snagging a brand new, fully loaded 2025 Tesla Model Y before it's gone. For some, the refresh upgrades, I'm talking about the suspension, all the interior bells, the efficiency, it's going to justify the premium. It will be irresistible though for many when those finance deals do start to hit, but 0% low APR finance, it won't be here for many years. But for a lot of you, the Legacy's value is still going to be king. That lower monthly payment thanks to that 0% APR with potentially a straight up discount on some models, it really is, well, it's now and it's slipping away. Ask yourself, do you really need the add-ons that the refresh has to offer, or does the Legacy's solid foundation offer enough? So there we have it. Whatever way that you think, I want to hear your reasons why in the comment section below. Don't forget to take a look at the cheeky links in the video description, including my Tesla accessory provider of choice. It's a great idea if you picked a new Tesla. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. You folks have been great, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.